Let's see what exactly interface is. So interface contains only abstract methods. Interface contains what? Only abstract methods. Let's see here, specifying here, interface contains only abstract methods in case of interface. But from Java SE version 8 onwards, an interface contains abstract methods and default methods. Before this Java 8 version, an interface can contain only the abstract methods, but from Java 8 version onwards, interface contains abstract methods and default methods. Interface contains what? Abstract methods and default methods. The non-abstract methods you cannot create inside the interface. So by default, interface methods are applied with interface methods are applied with public and abstract. By default, interface methods are applied with what? Interface methods are applied with public and abstract. If we create any method, by default the method is going to be applied with public and abstract. The method will be applied by default. By default, method will be applied with what? With public and abstract. The method will be applied here. Next thing is nothing but by default. By default, data will be applied with. By default, data will be applied with public static and final. Interface contains abstract methods and default methods, and by default interface methods are applied with public and abstract. By default interface methods are applied with public and abstract. By default the interface methods are applied, and by default data will be applied with public, static and final. Data will be applied. Data will be applied with what? Public, static and final. Data will be what? Applied. Okay. And the by default, the interface contains what? Only abstract methods and the default methods. So by using interface, you can provide fully abstraction. You can provide by using interface. You can provide what? So fully abstraction you can provide by using the interface. By using the interface concept, we can provide this fully abstraction. You can provide by using what? Interface. Okay. If the class is providing the implementation for an interface, if the class is providing an implementation for an interface, for example, the class is providing an implementation for an interface. The class is providing an implementation for an interface. Then the class has to provide. Then the class has to provide the implementation for. Then the class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. Otherwise, if any class is providing the implementation for an interface, the class is providing an implementation for an interface, and the class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. Otherwise declare the class as abstract. Declare the class as what? Abstract. If any class is providing the implementation for an interface, then the class has to provide what? The implementation for all the methods. It has to provide the implementation. Otherwise, simply that class you had to declare as what? As the abstract, you had to declare that class. Okay. If the interface is not having any abstract methods, the interface is not having any abstract methods, the interface is not having is not having any abstract methods, any abstract methods, if the interface is not having any abstract methods, only interface is declared, there is no any methods, the methods are not created in the interface, the interface is not having any abstract methods, and the interface is called as, then the interface is called as marker interface. The interface is called as what? Marker interface. If the interface is not having any abstract methods, the interface is not having any abstract methods, then the interface is called as what? Marker interface. Okay. So only interface will be declared, only interface is created, but there is no any abstract methods. Then at that time we call as what? As a marker interface we call. Okay. If the interface is having only one abstract method, if there is no abstract methods, we call as marker interface. Just 1 second. Just 2 minutes, guys. So the interface, if the interface is not having any abstract methods, then the interface is called as a marker interface. The interface is not having any abstract method, we call as what? We call as marker interface. If the interface is having only one abstract method, the interface is having only one abstract method, is not having any abstract methods, we call as marker interface. The interface is having only one abstract method, then it is called as functional interface. It is called as what? Functional interface. There is no abstract methods, marker interface. If it's having only one abstract method, it's called as what? Functional interface. Okay. So this functional interface you can represent by using lambda expression. Functional interface will be represent by using lambda expression. Functional interface will be represented by using what? By using lambda expression, we can represent the function interface. We can represent by using lambda expression. Okay, and the next important thing is an interface can extend another interface. An interface can extend another interface. An interface can extend another interface. Just I'm telling, first I'm giving all the statements about the interface. Then after that we'll discuss about each and every individual statement we'll discuss. Okay. An interface can extend another interface if any class is providing implementation for interface. If any class is providing an implementation for an interface, the class has to provide the implementation for an interface. The class has to provide an implementation for an interface and its parent interface. An interface can extend another interface. Then in that case, If any class is providing the implementation for an interface, the class has to provide the implementation for the interface abstract methods as well as its parent interface abstract methods and its parent interface. In Java, let's say single class can provide the implementation for the implementation for multiple interfaces. One single class can provide the implementation for what? Multiple interfaces it can provide the implementation. Single class can provide the implementation for what? Multiple interfaces. One single class can provide the implementation for multiple interfaces it can provide the implementation. I mean, Java will not support the multiple inheritance for classes, but Java will support multiple inheritance for what? For interfaces it will support. Java will support multiple inheritance for multiple inheritance for interface. Meaning, one class can provide the implementation for multiple interfaces. It can provide the implementation. Okay, so this is all about the interface. Finally, if you want, you can create one more statement. You can specify. That is, we cannot create the object for interface. We cannot create the object. We cannot create the object for what? We cannot create the object for interface. You cannot create the object. You cannot create for interface. You cannot create the object. Okay, so got it right? Still, if you want, you can write a lot of statements. You can write, but like interface will be declared by using an interface keyword, and a class will provide the implementation for an interface by using implements keyword. I guess small statements we can discuss, but these are the major things. The major points about the major statements about what? About the interface. Okay, so we'll discuss about each and every statement, what exactly this interface is and all. Okay, what is the first one? First one is interface contains abstract methods as well as default methods. An interface can contain the abstract methods as well as the default methods. An interface can contain what? Abstract methods as well as what? Default methods. Okay, so this default methods concept is not available. This default methods concept is introduced from Java 8 version onwards. This Java default methods only came into the picture. But earlier, the definition of interface is nothing but interface can contain only the abstract methods. But now the definition is changed from Java 8 version onwards. Interface can contain abstract methods and the default methods. Let's see here how we'll create an interface. How we'll create an interface, let's try to understand. I'm creating a Java class I'm creating here. Create a Java class I'm creating. So here, interface, if you want to create any interface, for example, I want to create an interface called bank is the interface, for example. What is the interface name? Bank is the interface. Okay. Interface should contain what? Only the abstract methods and the default methods. Let's see here the initial definition. Let's say I want to create an interface I want to create. Instead of class, I want to create what? An interface I want to create. Instead of class, what I want to create? I want to create an interface I want to create. Create an interface. Specify the interface name here. Specify what? Specify the interface name. One second. Let's create an interface. Then after that, we had to specify what? The interface name we had to specify. The interface name we had to specify. I'm specifying the interface name as, for example, bank is the interface name I specified. Interface of a class will be defined by using interface keyword. and specify the interface name. I specified the interface name as bank is the interface name I specified. Let's save the program. Let's save the program. Go to File. Choose an option called Save here. Go to File, Save. Okay. So choose the location where you want to save this program. Let's take in the C drive. In the C drive. So Java 9:30 p.m. Interface also we had to specify. We had to save with the same name we had to save. And specifying here bank.java is a class name. Bank.java is the interface name I specified. And see what is the next one. Interface can contain what? Interface contains only the abstract methods and the default methods. Abstract methods, we know that already. We know, right? Abstract methods means we know already. Meaning if the method is not having a body, just only declaration, and the child class wants to provide the implementation for that particular method, then you have to declare the method as what? As a abstract. You have to declare. You have to declare the method as what? As a abstract. You have to declare that method. Let's take for example here, there are some methods are there, like for example, provide car loan. Okay, let's say for example, provide crop loan, provide home loan, so personal loan. There are some these are the functionalities of the banking, functionalities in the bank, correct or not? Let's say for example here, I'm creating interface you're creating, right? What is interface name? Bank is the interface name we specified. In this bank interface, let's say void, let's say here I'm specifying provide car loan. Provide car loan is a method. Okay, just only declaration, that's it. If you try to give a body, if you try to give for this method, if you try to give a body for this particular method, if you try to give a body, see I created interface I created, and we are giving a body, we are giving for this one. What is the body? Provide car loan. Let's say this one. Let's say the program being bank.java in the Java 9:30 p.m. folder. Bank.java is the class. But we'll change the file name because we saved a small case. Bank.java. Just compile it, go to command prompt. Where you save the program, let's specify the Java location where you save the Java program. CD space Java 9:30 p.m. CD space Java 9:30 p.m. So we had to compile that class, we had to compile Java space bank.java. Java space bank.java. Java C space bank.java. Now see here, you're going to get an error. See what is the error we got? Interface abstract methods cannot have a body. Interface abstract methods cannot have what? Body. Once you are creating an interface, you are creating called bank is the interface. Bank is the interface. So in this interface, you cannot create the abstract. It contains only the abstract methods. Abstract methods should not contain what? Any body. You cannot provide the body. You cannot provide for the abstract methods. You cannot provide the body. You cannot provide. Now, if you are creating any interface, if you are creating in the sense nothing but interface should contain what? Should contain only the abstract methods. Only what? Only the abstract methods. So meaning you cannot provide the body. You cannot provide for this particular method. You cannot provide body. You cannot provide for the methods. See, in case of our, okay, like this we specified void provide car loan is a method we created. Let's say we decided to use this one as an abstract method, meaning the child class is going to provide the implementation for this. In our previous topic, the previous topic what we discussed, abstract. Separately, we use a keyword called abstract is a keyword we use separately. Separately, we had to use a keyword called what? Abstract keyword we had to use separately. For specifying this method is nothing but it's abstract method. But in interface, it's no need to specify this one as an abstract because by default, It's going to apply with public and abstract, it will apply. Okay. I'm creating some methods I'm creating here. I'm specifying here provide car loan. Let's take provide personal loan. Provide car loan, provide personal loan, crop loan. Let's say I'm specifying one more thing called home loan. Like these are the functionalities of a bank. These are what? The functionalities of a bank. And see here, we are not providing the implementation for these methods. Just only we declared the methods as of now. And as per our understanding in the yesterday's class, the method is not having the any body, just only declaration. We had to declare that method as abstract. We had to declare so that the child class is going to provide the implementation for that particular method. But see here, I created methods I created, but I have not given any body. I have not specified for these methods. Let's say the program. I compile it. So we're in a C drive. Let's move to Java 9:30 p.m. folder. What is the interface name? Java C bank.java. Java C bank.java. So there is no any errors here. Successfully the program is compiled. I can run this program. We can run Java space bank. Okay. So there is no any errors. We cannot compile because we cannot create them. We cannot create a main method. We cannot create it. Just its interface. We compile the program. We compile Java C bank.java. We compile the program. Successfully the program is compiled without giving any error. Without giving any, of course, you cannot execute this one Java space bank because it's an abstract. There is no main method, so we cannot run this program. So Java C bank.java is a class we created, right? See here, the second statement, if you see here, we know that bank is an interface we created, right? By default, the interface methods are applied with what? By default, the interface methods are applied with public and abstract by default. The interface methods will be applied here. What is the default access modifier for this? What is the default access modifier for the interface abstract methods? If you don't apply any access modifier, also by default apply this public and abstract. If you want to see whether really it is applied this public and abstract or not, let's see a simple example. Use a command called java p is a command. Is a command called what? Java p. After compiling your Java program, after compiling the Java program, after getting this .class file, what we'll do is use a command called java p. Use a command called what? Java p is a command. Then after that, specify the class name. In which class you want to see the list of methods you want to see in which class. Specify the class name. Java p is specified bank. Click on enter. Just specify Java C space. Specify the class name bank.bank. That's it. Java p space bank. So it's going to show you all the list of methods in that particular interface. So it will show you what? All the list of methods in that particular interface. It will show you all the list of methods will be shown here. See, these are the methods: provide car loan, provide personal loan, provide crop loan, and home loan. These are the methods we created inside this bank interface. But see here, these methods are applied with public and abstract. These methods are applied. These methods are applied with what? These methods are applied with public, abstract. These methods are applied. Okay. So are you applied this public and abstract for these variables? No, we have not specified any variable. We have not specified any modifier here. So, but internally, if you create an interface, if you create automatically, interface methods by default will be applied as public and abstract. Okay. Next, see what is the next statement? Okay, we've seen that We create interface we created. We create interface we created, and this interface, by default, the methods are applied with public and abstract. By default, the methods are applied by default. Okay. Next thing is nothing but by default, data will be applied with public, static, and final. By default, data will be applied with what? Public, static, and final data will be applied here. By default, data will be applied with what? Public, static, and final data will be applied here. If you try to declare some data, for example, if you try to declare some data, if you try to declare, by default, it's going to apply with public, static, and final. By default, data will be applied here. Let's say, for example, I'm declaring one in the interface. In the interface, this what I'm doing is, in this interface, what I'm doing is, I'm creating a variable I'm creating here. Let's say, for example, float. Let's say I'm specifying rate of interest. Float, what is this one? Rate of interest. This rate of interest is equal to, I'm specifying 7.8f. Because the float type, it's a float type, that's why I specified out 7.8f I specified, meaning it's a float type of value. Where you are creating this float type of value? In a interface. In interface, we are getting this float type of values. Interface, we specified out the float type of values you configure. And let's compile the program, and by default that interface methods and interface, by default the interface methods are applied with public and abstract, and by default interface data will be applied with public, static, and final. If you want, just go and see this one. Java p java p space java, the class where you created a Java program, bank.java. So you got the list of methods. You got, so .java is not required, just Java p bank. Click on enter. See here, by default, we create integer type is specified, right? I think probably we had to recompile it first. Java c bank.java. Program is compiled. Next, Java p, specify the class name bank. So now you are going to get the list of abstract methods and list of data we configured here. These are the list of abstract methods, and this is the data we configured. Float rate of interest. See here, this particular variable rate of interest float type of value is applied with public, static, and final. It is applied here. It is applied with what? It is applied with public, static, and final. This particular variable is applied, rate of interest. Okay, that's what the third statement I mentioned here. Interface contains only the abstract methods and the default methods. And by default, interface methods are applied with what? Applied with public and abstract by default. By default, it will apply. Even if you don't apply in an interface also, by default, it will apply public and abstract. And by default, data will be applied with what? Public, static, and final. That's what we've seen here. We get a variable called rate of interest. We have not specified any rules for this one, any data types and all. But by default, it's going to apply that public, static, and final for the variable it's going to apply. Next, what is the next one? Okay, let's read this statement. Interface contains abstract methods as well as non-abstract methods. Let's see here what exactly these non-abstract methods. I mean, not non-abstract methods, default methods. What is the next one? Default methods. The interface can contain abstract methods and the default methods. Default methods will be defined by using the default keyword. Default methods will be created by using what? By using method called what? By using keyword called what? Default. See, earlier also we discussed a modifier called default. Even that is also called as a default modifier. But when you call the default modifier, meaning if any class or a method or variable is not applied with any particular type, then at that time you can choose a, at the time automatically take that default modifier will take. But here, here in the default means nothing, it's having a special meaning here. In case of interface, you're talking about the interfaces concept and you're talking default is having a special meaning in the program. That's why it strongly recommend not to use this default method for variables and methods. Okay. So here, let's see here. Interface can contain the abstract methods as well as default methods also. Let's see how can you declare the default methods in interface. We are creating an interface, we are creating, right? We are creating an interface, we are creating. You have to specify. I'm specifying here a default method. I'm specifying here. I'm configuring here as default. I'm configuring here as what? As a default. I'm specified here. Next, after that, we have to specify what is the method name. We have to specify the return type. Void is a return type. It will not give any value. Void is a return type. And next, we have to configure the method name. I'm specifying the method name as show MSG is a text I configure. What is the text I configured? Show MSG is a text I configure. Show MSG is a method. See what kind of method it is? The show MSG method. What kind of method this show MSG method is? It is a default method. It is what? It is a default method. In this method, just I'm writing here, I'm printing a message, I'm writing here, system.out.println from show MSG method. Okay, so interface can contain what? Can contain only abstract methods up to Java 8 version onwards. And before Java 8 version onwards, it is restricted to only for creating the abstract methods. But from Java 8 version onwards, they introduced a concept called default methods. Meaning default method means nothing but the default specifier is different. If we don't apply any specifier, by default it considers as a default. But here in case of interface, we had to specify explicitly, we had to use a keyword called default keyword. We had to use explicitly, we had to use this keyword, we had to use explicitly. So let's save the program. Let's save the program and compile and run the program. Java C bank.java Java space bank. If you want, you can see here this Java P command you can use. You can use this Java P command you can use to see the list of methods in that particular class. Just click on enter. So you got the default method, so we got show MSG method. See, is this show MSG method is applied as an abstract? No, right? The show MSG method is not applied this abstract. Remaining all the three methods, remaining all the four methods is out as a abstract methods. Okay, so from Java 8 version onwards only, this feature is came. Interface can contain what? Can contain the abstract methods. So interface can contain what? The default methods, abstract methods, and default methods. Okay. See next. What is the next one? We've seen these statements. We've seen by default methods are applied with what? Public and abstract. Data is applied with public, static, and final. And by using interface, you can provide fully abstraction because there is no concept of. Whereas in case of abstract class, if you see here, it's not a fully abstraction, it's a partial abstraction. Meaning some data you can hide and some data you cannot hide. But whereas in case of interface, completely the data is going to be hide from the user. Okay. So whereas interface contains what? Only the abstract methods. Next. If the class is providing an implementation for an interface, if any class is providing the implementation for an interface, then the class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. Otherwise, simply declare the class as what? As a abstract. Meaning of this statement is nothing but if any class wants to provide the implementation for the interface, then the class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. Let's see here, for example, I'm specifying an example I'm specifying here. One of the bank is nothing but, let's say these are the functionalities bank is providing. car loan, personal loan, crop loan, home loan. These are all the functionalities the bank interface is providing here. I'm creating a Java class. I'm creating here. I'm creating a Java class. I'm creating here. This particular class. One second. Read the statement clearly. If any class is providing the implementation for an interface, the class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. Otherwise, make it as what? As a. Now here, let's say for example, I'm creating a class. I'm creating called ICICI is a class. ICICI is a class. Okay. So this class, assume that this class is providing the implementation for. Assume that this particular class ICICI class is providing the implementation for. It is providing the implementation for an interface. It is providing the interface. What is the interface name? Bank is an interface. We already discussed, right? If any class is providing the implementation for an interface, then the class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. So how many abstract methods are there in this ICICI? You have to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. You have to provide the implementation. For example, in this particular class, because ICICI is a class which is providing the implementation for the bank interface, it has to provide that body for those methods. It has to provide the body. I specified public void. Okay. What are the methods we specified here? Provide car loan, provide personal loan, provide crop loan, and provide home loan. For all these methods, you have to provide the implementation. You have to provide for all these methods. You have to provide the implementation. You have to provide. Meaning, we have to give the method body. We have to give for these methods. You have to give the method body. You have to give. Provide car loan, personal loan. For all these methods, you have to provide the body. You have to provide. Remember, if any class is providing the implementation for an interface, the class is providing implementation for an interface, for example, then the class has to provide the implementation for what? For all the abstract methods, it has to provide the implementation. How many? The class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. It has to provide the implementation. Otherwise, simply declare the class as what? As an abstract. Just for demonstration, what I'm doing is I'm writing system.out.println. Just for example, I'm specifying this some short description I'm writing here. One is car loan is one thing. Car loading. Okay, just I'm giving an example to some sample message I'm writing on the screen. One is sample car loading. Let's copy it and save inside the personal loan method. I'm from what? I'm from personal loan. So I'm giving some short SOP statements I'm writing here, just to check whether these particular functions are calling or not. Okay, if the class is providing the implementation for an interface, then the class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. It has to provide the implementation. It has to provide for all the abstract methods. Otherwise, simply declare the class as what? As a abstract class will declare. Let's say, for example, provide car loan, personal loan. I'm specifying here crop loan. What is another one? Okay. If any class is providing the implementation for an interface, then the class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. How many methods are available in that particular interface? It is providing the implementation for all the abstract methods. Let's say the program. Say the file name as ICICI.java. ICICI is providing the implementation for what? For bank interface, it is providing the implementation. So it has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods in the bank interface. So you know that execution of a program is going to start with main method. Execution of a program is going to start with main method. Remove this main method. In this main method, let's create the object for this class. What is our class name? ICICI is a class, because capital or small, all are capital case, because its naming convention is most important. ICICI, let's say for example I specified the class has to provide the implementation for all the abstract methods. So we are putting the implementation for all these abstract methods. We are putting the implementation, and ICICI is equals to new ICICI. ICICI is equals to what? New ICICI. We had to create the object for this child class. We had to create the object. We had to create for child class. We had to create the object, and after that, with the help of this object reference, I dot, you can call these methods. You can call one is provide car loan is one thing. Two, three total. How many methods you copied? 4 methods, right? Provided dot intent object dot provide car loan is a method. What is another one? Intent object dot what is another one? Provide car loan. Provide crop loan is another one. Provide crop loan. Provide car loan. Provide what? Crop loan. Next, there are 2 more things are there. What are the 2 more things? Provide car loan and provide crop loan. And the next thing is nothing but home loan and personal loan. So here I'm specifying provide home loan. What is the last one we specified? What is one more type we specified here? Home loan and personal loan. Personal loan. Now see here, let's say the program. Now here, what we are doing is, now this is a class, ICICI is a class. This ICICI class is providing the implementation for bank interface. It is providing the implementation. These are all the abstract methods in the bank interface. Okay. Let's say the program and run the program. Let's say the program and run the program. One is bank interface, bank.java. Another thing is ICICI. Java C. Java C. What is your class name? First thing is what? Bank, correct or not? Java C bank.java is the first thing. Java C bank.java is the first thing. So there is no any issues with this one. Successfully we got the Hello. Yeah, sorry, I didn't check that audio is mute. But sorry, I hadn't checked that statement continuously. I'm taking because I'm using this virtual machine, right? In virtual machine, I cannot get that. I cannot get the information. I cannot get. So anyway, sorry. Just try to do the first two things first. What exactly this interface is? Let's try to create the abstract methods. And by using Java p command, let's see the list of methods and data is applied with public static and not just test few functionalities. Or not day of mean nor Monday class. Tomorrow is Saturday, right? Saturday and Sunday you don't have a class. Next class I'll take on Monday. I'll take the Monday. We'll discuss about the remaining statements. We'll discuss on Monday class. We'll discuss the remaining statements. Okay. So thank you guys. Anyway, thank you, and see you on Monday. Monday class. We'll discuss about these remaining statements about the interface. We'll discuss on the Monday class, and there is one important concept. There is nothing but difference between interface and abstract class. Even that one also we'll discuss in the Monday class. We'll discuss that statement. Okay. So thank you. See you on Monday. Thank you.